Standard HTML provides visual structure for the web, but it is inherently rigid. A standard document cannot change its own content once written. If a university needs to display unique exam results for thousands of students, hard-coding a distinct static page for every enrollment number is practically impossible. To bypass this bottleneck, the Java 2 Enterprise Edition architecture relies on a dedicated mediator known as the web container. A web container, like Apache Tomcat, acts as a servlet engine. It is a specialized server component designed to create an active execution infrastructure where server-side technologies can run safely. While the HTML document provides the skeletal layout, it requires the web container's processing infrastructure to query databases and generate customized data dynamically for the end user. This introduces JavaServer Pages, or JSP. JSP functions as a developer-friendly abstraction layer that sits directly on top of the web container. While a JSP file uses familiar markup, it functions strictly as a source file for a Java servlet. It is a highly robust server-side technology, specifically engineered to tightly integrate static visual presentation with fully compiled Java business logic. To understand how this mechanism operates, we will deconstruct JSP by tracking its compilation lifecycle, its core building block components, and how it manages user state. The true utility of a Java server page lies in its ability to hide complex, compiled enterprise logic behind a highly accessible text-based facade. When a client requests a JSP page, the web container does not interpret the code line by line in real time. Instead, the container triggers a translation phase. It parses the text-based JSP document and fully translates it into a raw Java servlet file. The server then compiles that newly generated Java file into a machine-readable bytecode file. Finally, this compiled bytecode is loaded directly into the web container's active memory to begin serving client requests. Once in memory, the servlet executes an initialization method, JSP init. This runs exactly once to establish base resources, like database connections, that the servlet will need throughout its lifespan. With the environment initialized, the core engine engages. The JSP service method is invoked for every single incoming HTTP request. This specific module processes the data and generates the HTML response for the user. The servlet remains active until the server shuts down or unloads it. When that happens, a final JSP destroy method triggers, releasing open files and clearing the memory pool. Because translation and compilation occur only during the first request, subsequent requests bypass them entirely, executing at high-speed native Java performance. Beneath that lifecycle, the actual JSP document is constructed using 3 distinct architectural primitives. The first component is the directive. Directives do not produce any visible output. They act as strict instructions directed at the JSP container itself. Placed at the top of the file, directives dictate global processing rules, such as importing necessary Java packages or routing the user to a defined error page if a failure occurs. Next are scripting elements. These provide the mechanism for embedding raw Java logic directly into the document. These elements are divided into 3 subtypes: scriptlets for writing blocks of execution logic, expressions for outputting data directly to the user stream, and declarations for defining custom methods. The third primitive is the action element. Action elements utilize XML syntax to control container behavior dynamically at runtime. They allow developers to instantiate and interact with reusable Java classes, known as Java beans, without cluttering the presentation file with complex Java code. By utilizing directives, scripting, and action elements systematically, engineering teams maintain a clean separation between visual presentation and underlying business logic. Executing continuous logic introduces a structural problem. The HTTP protocol is stateless. The server inherently forgets a user the exact moment a page finishes loading. To solve this, the JSP container automatically provisions 9 predefined variables, known as implicit objects, directly into the active service method. The out object is used constantly. It provides a direct channel to write text and HTML data straight into the client's browser stream. The request object works in reverse. It fetches incoming data from the client, extracting parameters, cookies, and HTTP header information from the query. The session object compensates for the statelessness of HTTP by tracking a specific user's identity and data across multiple independent page loads. To manage memory effectively, these objects are bound by the concept of scope. Scope dictates strict lifecycle boundaries for exactly how long an object is allowed to exist in the server's memory. Variables assigned to page scope exist only for the brief duration it takes to render the current page. Once the rendering is complete, the object is immediately destroyed. Request scope extends this slightly. Data survives across multiple server-side resources, but only within the exact lifespan of a single HTTP request sent by the client. For longer-term storage, session scope ensures data survives until a specific user logs out. Finally, application scope creates global variables that remain accessible to every user until the server itself is shut down. By mapping implicit objects to these highly specific scopes, developers give a stateless internet its memory, allowing secure, complex applications to function reliably. We observe how these principles interact by tracing a user interaction. A user clicks a link, sending an HTTP request across the network. The request hits the web container, routing the packet to the compiled JSP servlet waiting in memory. Inside the service method, the servlet accesses the implicit request object to read the incoming data and triggers the necessary scripting and action elements to process the required business logic. Once processing completes, the servlet uses the implicit out object to write a customized HTML document. The web container ejects this HTML back across the network as an HTTP response, where it renders on the client screen. The developer writes code that physically resembles a simple HTML document, but the web container processes it as a fully optimized Java application. By mastering the translation lifecycle, the component architecture, and strict scope management, engineers can use JSP to turn static documents into highly scalable web architectures.